I'm sure you can relate to this. You've had a string of jobs and it feels more like you're moving sideways than you're moving up. And you're not even sure what you want to be moving up to. In today's video, I'm going to walk through what clarity actually means, how it ties directly into your career, and what steps you can start doing to get started. Coming up. Hey, I'm Sam with Systems of Impact, your place for growth-minded millennials looking to level up their careers. If you find value in today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you don't miss out on any videos as they're uploaded. What does clarity actually mean? Clarity really comes down to being crystal clear about where you're going and having a vision of what that'll look like. So when you see people talk about you need to get clarity on something, or I'm just not very clear on what I want, that's what it's referring to. Getting crystal clear on that particular outcome or that particular job or that particular career that you're wanting. And that brings us to career. What exactly is a career? Your career is a holistic or overarching view of all the jobs that you have. And it's basically a theme. So if the first part of my life, I had a theme of video games. That's what I wanted as a career, which didn't actually pan out. But that was the career I wanted. But in my 30s, my career has been product management. That's what I was striving for. And so all the steps in between has been towards that particular theme. So your career is a set of jobs that is going to help you facilitate a skill set to acquire this thing. And something to keep in mind, I mentioned this in my passion video, but your career can change over time. And the themes of your career more likely will change over time. Based upon recent studies, you're going to have anywhere between 3 and 5 different careers in your lifetime. And so that means that you're going to pivot and do something different quite a few times in life. And so that's something that you need to take into account and learn how to build. So that way you have more intention and specificity as you're going through this process. So now that we know what clarity means and we know what a career means, how do you get started? How do you figure out what kind of career you actually want? So back in my passion video, I talked about how to develop a passion. And just super quick overview here, you're looking at curiosity plus interest equals mastery, and mastery plus discipline equals a passion. Super high level. I'll link it in the description below so that way you can go check it out. So that way you can figure out a passion. But your career is essentially a group of passions or a path. And so when you're starting to think of your career and how you're going to get started, it's great to think of what you're curious about today and start to take that path of what is going to be curious about. And as you get curious about these things, you'll start to see clues of things that you're going to be interested in. And more often than not, this is going to be something where you're not going to be immediately good at it. You most likely will suck. And that's perfectly okay. We all suck when we start. And that's awesome because that means you're learning and you're growing and you're adapting. So when it comes to following these interests, when you have clarity about where you're wanting to go, in my case, it was product management, and I was getting curious about product management, I was starting to see that I had a lot of gaps. I didn't understand how to project manage. I didn't understand how to build a product. I didn't understand how to market a product. I didn't understand a lot. And because there were these gaps in knowledge, I had to go and fill those gaps, and my curiosities turning into those interests really helped me to facilitate this career. So what you're looking at is when you start to go curious and then you start to get the interest, that interest is your spark. It's going to give you that direction and to help you guide on that path. So then you can start to look at, okay, I have an interest in this thing. Where can I apply that thing? So for example, if you're a painter and you got curious about painting and it turned into an interest, and let's say, for example, you wanted to be an art dealer, but you're a painter today. So that's very different. That is very up here, and painting over here, you need to bridge those two gaps. So from a painter's perspective, you need to go and understand not only how to paint and how to visually understand what other people are going to enjoy, but also you're going to need to understand business around painting. You're going to need to understand marketing around painting. You're going to need to understand all these different things to then become a particular dealer. So when you're starting to look at those interests, start to look long-term of what those interests can turn into, because that is going to show you what that career potentially could look like. And this really does come down to, what kind of life do you want? What does that ideal life actually look like? You know, are you sitting on the beach working every day? Or maybe you have financial freedom where you don't even have to think about money anymore, and your ideal life and your ideal career are directly facilitating that. So these are the kind of things that when you understand what your ideal life looks like, then you can start to tie other things to it. Ideal life up here, which then ties into your ideal career, which then translates into your ideal job, which then translate into your day-to-day. Once you understand from a clarity perspective of what that ideal life looks like, you can start to really work backwards to help facilitate what your ideal career will end up looking like. And if this is something that you want to dive deeper into, I have a free course that walks you through how to identify what your ideal life will actually look like. And then you can start to tie what your ideal career would start to look like from there. So it gives you that grand scheme, that grand plan that you're going to be aiming towards, that you can then start to work backwards from. And I'll put a link in the description for that free resource. And that brings us to the question of the day. In the comments below, what career could you have if you dove into it? So for example, maybe product manager was this particular career path that I wanted to dive into. What is the first step you could take to figure out if that's actually a career that you want? I appreciate you taking some time for yourself to better understand how you can get clear on something, what your career actually is, and how you can go about taking those first steps to identifying what your dream career could actually be. If you found value in today's video, make sure to hit that like button, and until next time.